Welcome to No Broken Legs Podcast. I am your host, Evan Belfiore. Joining me on this very sunny and mild Friday afternoon, early evening is Jimmy Champ. Jimmy, welcome.
Thanks, brother. Man, yeah, this weather the last couple of days got my sinuses acting up, but that's not going to stop me from bringing the fire on these picks, bud.
Well, we started out Week 14 last night watching the Rams just end the Patriots season. I had the Rams. I know you had the Rams. And one more we can take a win on. The Rams now have 9 wins. That clears their 8.5 over-under. We both really liked that before the season. How much did you enjoy that, Jimmy?
I loved it because the Rams did exactly what they needed to do. I've talked about it a lot when discussing the Rams and on the fantasy side of it. Sean McVay has been so reluctant to just give Cam Akers the football. He's clearly the best running back on the team, and Sean McVay wasn't playing around last night. He just fed Cam Akers, which opened up the play action. Jared Goff wasn't great, but he doesn't have to be great. He made the throws he needed to make. Their defense is really good. Jalen Ramsey is absolutely being worth the first-round draft pick. The Rams may be the best team in the NFC right now. I just love what they're doing on both sides of the ball. Aaron Donald took over the sack lead last night. I really like the Rams. They just seem to be really balanced. I don't think a good defense is enough to win in the NFL right now, but I think a really, really good defense with an offense that can score points to be efficient can win. So they may be the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, a lot of confusion at the top of the NFC. You have some teams that you like, but everybody seems to have a weakness. But the Rams definitely have that look of a team that has been there before because, well, they have.
Yep.
Well, the biggest game of Baker Mayfield's career, and I would tell everybody to get used to hearing that over the next couple of weeks. Cleveland is hosting Baltimore as 3-point dogs. The disrespect. The Ravens did run over the Browns in the opener. I expect Cleveland to be a lot better in this game, considering that the players on this team have met the coaches for longer than a month in person. Jimmy, do the Browns get even on Monday night?
So I flip-flopped on this game for 2 days, and the line just keeps moving. The public money keeps going to the Ravens, so I'm taking the Browns. I didn't look at the money line, but whatever the money line ends up being, I'll end up probably taking the money line on the Browns.
Right now, it's only plus 115.
Yeah, it may not get much higher than that, but I'll probably still make that bet. We've discussed a few times on our pod that Kevin Stefanski is putting together a Coach of the Year resume. I believe he's learned from his 2 blowout losses this year, and I know this game is the game the Browns have consistently lost our entire adult lives, but so was last week, and they dominated that game. I mean, it was never as close as the final score. But it's really just simple for the Browns. Can they contain Lamar like they did Derrick Henry? I know it's asking a lot of this defense to be good to great 2 weeks in a row, but that's what they'll need to happen. I will say this will not be a Baker Mayfield week. Part of the reason that they threw the ball so much last week may have been because Stefanski was looking ahead to this game. You don't beat Baltimore by throwing the ball. You beat Baltimore by running the ball and throwing screens, the quick smoke out, stuff like that. And they've got the Browns have the 2 running backs to do it. This would really be peak 2020 for the Browns to beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football, and I'm here for it, man.
Oh, it'd be so juicy. And put Baltimore back pretty much out of the playoffs at that point. It'd just be 10-3, Baltimore hanging back, and then who knows, Jimmy? I mean, we'll get to the game later, but Cleveland and Pittsburgh still have a game left. And with Pittsburgh's loss last week, we're not getting ahead of ourselves here. Some things have to go the right way, but Buffalo and Pittsburgh play this week.
Oh, when we get to the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game, I'll definitely be getting ahead of myself.
Well, it's just how refreshing is it, Jimmy? It's mid-December, and nobody's... Do you know who's in the draft next year?
I do. I do know a few of the players in the draft, but I don't know who the Browns will be targeting.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't care.
Exactly.
That's a problem for after the season's over, and the season isn't over, and it's fantastic. I love it. this will be a big week for Baker Mayfield. I think this is a prove it week for him. He's feasted on some defenses that aren't very good. I don't think he has to be spectacular here. I think they need to lean on the run, like you said. But he's going to be required to throw half a dozen passes that they're going to need for a big first down or a touchdown. And the question is, how many of those throws is he going to make against this Baltimore defense?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I know people tell me I can't just discredit him, but I mean, the weather was horrible for those 3 games. Stefanski is doing such a great job of moving the pocket and giving Baker good eyesight. Like, we're actually seeing Baker go through some reads, which may be because Odell's not out there. I don't know. But, I mean, he's looked really good, and I agree with you. He's going to have to make some throws. Right now, I have no reason to believe he won't be able to make those throws.
Yeah, he made a really nice throw. It extended a drive. I don't think they scored on it, but Tennessee had gotten the 2 quick touchdowns, and the Browns were looking like they were going to go 3 and out again, and Baker made a really nice pass on, I believe it was 3rd and 10, and that just sort of settled everything down, and you could just see the defense could exhale and go, oh, all right, cool.
Yeah, that was like the dart to the sideline, right?
Yeah, it was right at the sticks. I think it was Higgins, actually.
Yeah, your boy.
Yeah, those are the types of throws that we need to see Baker Mayfield make in the last couple of weeks. He's been making them. He had a really good read. Somebody on YouTube had a nice breakdown of it, the long touchdown to Peoples-Jones, where Baker made a pre-snap read, understood what the coverage was, made the little moves he needed to make in the pocket to get the room he needed to make the throw, and he's just like, that's taking candy from a baby. And those are the plays that great players make, because those are free touchdowns.
Yeah, I know this. I know we've got to get into the rest of the games. There's a lot of games, but do you mind if I talk a little bit more about some of the things that Browns offense did last week?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
The thing that was crazy about that touchdown to Peoples-Jones, it's hard to say if he would have caught it or not, but Njoku was running wide open in the middle seam. Like, it was such a beautiful play design, but the touchdown pass to Kendall Lamb, that play was so perfectly designed and executed by every member of the team. Like, I wish they would actually use the formation more, because they had Chubb lined up as a fullback and Hunt behind him. He faked to Chubb. Chubb jumped over the line like he was in Space Jam. And then Kareem Hunt shot like a rocket through the line to pull the safety, and Baker's eyes never went to Kendall Lamb until he threw the ball. Kendall Lamb held his block long enough to not make it obvious he was going out on the route. It was absolutely perfect. It's weird to see the Cleveland Browns offense do something like that.
And I'll respond with a question, Jimmy. Do you think they've actually practiced that, the week before they called it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way. With the execution on that play, to me, there's no way that wasn't a practiced play. Or, it's like you walked through that in practice, and then Stefanski and the running backs coach were like, "But Chubb, dude, I need you to sell out. Hunt, I need you to run fast. You've got to pull that linebacker to open up that corner. Nick, man, I need you to make everybody think you have the ball." And Baker actually does a really great job, and it probably helps that he's short. He does a great job on play action.
That was a fantastic play fake there. He really sold that.
Like, it's weird. Like, he does some shit. Like, he does a shuffle with his feet to make you think he wouldn't still have the ball, and then he just gets right back. I mean, it was great. But, yeah, I feel like that play was practiced multiple times. That's a play that you drew up on the board and you've discussed what everybody's job is. I just thought it was perfect. And
I wonder if that's something that they threw in towards the end of training camp when they just have like some extra time to do some stuff. Like, hey, here's a trick play we might run. I feel like that's sort of been something they've been working on for a while, just waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I'll follow up. How nice is it to have a coach who's an adult? Kevin Stefanski has brought organization to the Browns organization. It sounds so simple, but it works. Yeah, just everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Everybody seems comfortable in what they're doing. Everybody just has like you see that they're practicing the way they should be practicing because you're seeing results on the field.
Yeah, I mean I don't understand why Miles doesn't draw more holding calls, but it's weird to watch.
Well, the holding calls are just down across the league. I
Yeah,
mean, they're down. What is it still close? I mean, they were down almost 75%.
Yeah, we've discussed that, but it's weird to me to watch the Cleveland Browns have sustained drives where there's not holdings, false starts, blocks in the back, stupid shit. Like, this team is being coached very well. And like you said, they've had a lot more time together since the last time they played a team that pretty much brought back their whole team from last year. So
yeah, I don't think we should expect the Browns to look the same. I made the joke in the intro that they've known their coaches face to face in person for more than a month now, but that's the reality of what the situation was.
Yep, absolutely.
And one last note, I still think the Browns defense stinks overall, but they don't have a lot of talent over there, but Joe Woods is doing a very good job with what he has.
Well, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and apparently Joe Woods is one of the people checking us out on YouTube because they are blitzing a ton, they're run blitzing, and they're going for turnovers. Like, dude, you can't tackle anybody, you can't cover anybody. Try to peanut punch the ball, try to strip the ball, go for the football. I don't believe any of you can tackle Derrick Henry, but you might be able to get the ball out of his hand.
And they did, but they got both of those things. They tackled him, and Sheldon Richardson came up big. Yeah. I need to see more sustained success from him. We've seen him big in moments. We need to see him big a few weeks in a row, but he's put two, 3 good ones in a row. We need him to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say about the defense, it's something that we watched, and I didn't see it earlier in the year. They, as a unit, are swarming to everything. Like, they realize one-on-one, they are outmanned across the board, but as a unit, they're playing together, and that's got to be credit to Joe Wood.
Yeah, they looked like they had more fire to start that game and really came out and just punched Tennessee in the mouth. And, I mean, they ran away with it early, but those first couple of Titans drives, they just looked like they were shell-shocked.
Yeah, but, I mean, they were listening. They heard everybody talk about how Derrick Henry could set the single-game rushing record against them. Like, I mean, especially after the Titans having just beat the Colts, everybody was so high on the Titans, and we don't believe the Browns. Well, it's not the Browns' fault. They're playing who's in front of them. It's not their fault. They had some shitty weather game. Like, this team, offensively, they are really good, and the defense just needs to keep being opportunistic. Like, they're not going to limit an offense to 300 yards, but if they give up...
not.
If they give up 450 and create a couple turnovers and get a couple 3-and-outs, the Browns can win football games.
Yeah, they'll definitely capitalize on those turnovers. Well, Monday night we will see. Fingers crossed, and we will definitely be cheering for our Brownies.
That's for sure.
All right, getting on to the rest of the slate here. Houston is favored by 1.5 over Chicago. I still hate the Bears, Jimmy. I still like Deshaun Watson. That's why I'm going to go with the Texans, but I really don't like this game. The Bears' defense seems like it's good, but Mitch Trubisky's starting, and I can't bet on him.
Yeah, I agree. I got. This is gonna go. I'm gonna filibuster a little bit. I got some things to say about this game.
Proceed.
So the Texans were a bad snap away from beating everyone's fucking darling Indianapolis Colts last week. I don't think the Bears' defense is as good as the Colts' defense. So I don't see why the Bears win this game. Like, this is a lock for me with Houston. I think the Texans win this by a field goal at least. Believe it or not, Evan Belfiore, right now it's much more depressing to be a Bears and Cowboys fan than it is to be a Browns fan.
Yes, it's delightful.
So this is the first meeting between Deshaun Watson and Mitch Trubisky. Deshaun doesn't strike me as the chip on the shoulder guy, but he was shaken by that loss last week. Like, his press conference, when they tried to get him to throw his center under the bus, he said, I'm a superstar. I want to be a legendary quarterback in the NFL, and legends catch that snap and throw the touchdown and win the game. It was on me 100%. My defense shut them out, and I let them down.
Oh, and that's something the guys in the locker room are going to rally around.
Like, the Texans' defense played well against the Colts' offense in the second half, And I don't think the Bears' offense is as good as the Colts' offense. And I hate the Colts' offense, but I don't think the Bears' offense is that good. I think that defense is going to be fired up to have his back. I do think Deshaun is going to want to leave no doubt in the Chicago Bears front office that they made a tremendous mistake in drafting Mitch Trubisky. Like, Deshaun tends to be really good in big situations. A lot of them are games that he loses, but he tends to play well. I don't see a path where the Bears get this victory. I think the Bears offense, if they run the ball, we know Houston has a horrible run defense. If the Bears run the ball, they can probably score some points, but at some point Mitch is going to have to complete some passes, and I don't know if he can do it.
I don't think Deshaun Watson's super chip on the shoulder guy either, but I think he also has pride, and he knows that Chicago traded up to take Mitch Trubisky, and that's something that is going to motivate him to play.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Tampa Bay is hosting the Minnesota Vikings. They're 6.5-point favorites. I'm taking Tampa as a lock here, Jimmy.
Wow, yeah, I'm also taking.
Oh, okay.
I'm also taking Tampa as a lock. You know, your Vikings are scratching and clawing to get back into the playoff talk, probably where they should be. But this game, to me, it just comes down to matchups. You know, the Bucs are at the top of the league at stopping the run, and they do it with their base defense. Like, they don't do anything fancy. Their front six just stop the run.
Yeah.
The Vikings can't rush the passer. So this is a crazy-ass stat, and I love it. The leading Minnesota Viking player with sacks, he's under 5, and he doesn't even play for the Vikings anymore.
Oh, that was they traded him to Baltimore, didn't they?
Yep. So that's like crazy to me. So
he's their leader, oh my god.
Yeah. So there's going to be no pressure on Tom Brady, and everyone knows Kirk Cousins is going to have to throw the ball. So start your Bucs pass catchers, and I think they cruise in this one, keeping their playoff hopes alive.
Absolutely. I still don't like Tampa Bay long term, but they'll put the Vikings out of their misery this week.
Yep, I agree.
Tennessee, fresh off a loss to the Cleveland Browns, are now traveling to Jacksonville. They're 7.5-point favorites. This was a 3-point game earlier in the season. Do the Titans bounce back here?
I think the Titans will probably win this game, but I'm taking the Jags with 7.5 points. The over-under on this game is in the low 50s. I would say bet that right now. Both of these defenses stink. The Titans have to be reeling after last week. I imagine we see a ton of Derrick Henry regardless of game flow. Mike Glennon has been, Mike Glennon is not one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's an improvement over Gardner Minshew, and the Jaguars have some offensive weapons. Like, this screams backdoor cover to me.
Yeah, the Jaguars they have pride. They're a little frisky. I think Doug Marrone wants to put on a good face because he knows he's going to be looking for a job once the season's over.
Yeah.
And as you said, the Titans' defense is not very good. Right now, the money line on this is really big. So if you don't trust the Titans, Jaguars plus 283, kind of juicy.
Ooh, I wish you wouldn't have told me that, bro. Oh, goodness.
Well, maybe after a very good week last week, I decided that maybe I would throw a little of those winnings at that and try and hit the lottery.
I don't blame you one bit.
I just don't know what to make of the Titans. They look really good one week. They look really bad the next week. They look good in a half. They look awful in a half. It's a lot of these teams you can tell are lacking the consistency that we would expect, especially the Titans. They seem to be what they are, but they haven't really, I guess in the aggregate they've kind of been that, but they've been all over the place as a roller coaster kind of.
Yeah. Yep.
Jimmy, the crappy Dallas Cowboys are playing the equally as crappy Cincinnati Bengals. This is at the top of my list of games I'm not going to watch. It seems as a better. This is a complete stay away. Dallas is favored by 3.5, and I just keep looking at that, going, "How is Dallas favored by 3.5 against anybody?" And then I see the Bengals, and I go, "Well, they should be able to cover 3.5." But I don't know.
Yeah,
Just F this game.
So it's weird to me because I agree with you. This game, like, I'm not gonna bet any money on this game. This is a stay away game to me, but I'm also taking it as a lock for the Cowboys. Like, I think the Cowboys can exploit all the things the Bengals are bad at. This should finally be a big week for all of Dallas's offense. I love the Andy Dalton revenge game. The Bengals have lost all of their early season mojo. The Cowboys get to stay in the NFC East hunt, baby.
Oh, just for the chaos of Dallas staying in the hunt, you've swayed me. I'll take the Cowboys in the picks. I hate this pick, but it's a vote for chaos in the NFC East, and I love it.
Yep.
Well, part of the chaos that has happened in the NFC East, the Giants, they are trending up, Jimmy. The Cardinals, who they are playing, are trending down. But Arizona's favored by 3 here. I like the Giants as a lock. I think they win this game outright.
Yeah, I had the same feeling. This would have been my 6th lock, so I'm with you. The money line is at plus 125. I feel like that's easy. That's some easy money there. I have zero trust in what the Cardinals are trying to do with an injured Kyler Murray, but after what the Giants did to our Seahawks, I'm done doubting the Giants' defense. I think their offense can do just enough. I got one guy from the Giants I want to talk about when we get to fantasy. I just think the wheels are officially off for the Cardinals, and the Giants are smelling a home playoff game, and they're going to want it more. Like, I think when you get to Week 14, especially in a crazy season, I think that shit's going to matter. Like, the team that wants it can go take it. I feel that way.
I think what we're seeing is that Kyler Murray, and he's still very young and he has time to develop, but Kyler Murray's not ready to lead a team from the pocket. He's very early Donovan McNabb right now, where when he can't run and use his legs as part of his attacking, he becomes very limited and very easy to defend. That's their problem right now. He needs to get healthy so that he can start running and running more, because teams are just, I think they realize that he's not going to run as much because he's worried about getting hit.
Yep.
And he's one of those little guys.
Yeah,
how much punishment can he take?
Yeah, it was always going to be, it's just always something he's going to have to worry about. I mean, he is small. Like, it's not just that he's short. I mean, he's small in stature. Like,
yeah, he's slight. Kind of like that was one of the things that really worried me when the Browns drafted Johnny Manziel, was the famous picture of him with the girl on each arm, and it's like, why is our starting quarterback as big as just 2 like women?
Yep. No, I completely agree.
But that's why I wasn't worried as much about Baker's height in terms of the pounding, because he seems to be, he's stockier.
Yep.
All right, Carolina is hosting Denver. They're getting the home team 3. This was almost a lock for me. I like the Panthers. I'm completely off the Drew Lock train. I didn't like him to start the season, and I still don't know why everybody talks about him in sort of long-term prospect terms.
Yeah, this game is kind of a stay away for me because the Panthers keep having guys get ruled out because of COVID. It doesn't look like McCaffrey's going to play. I'm still taking the Panthers, though. I mean, 3 seems like the right number, so it's probably a push. The over-under on this game is 46, so I'll probably take the under. I might even, get a teaser going where I get this down to around 40 and the Titans up around 60. But, I just think the Panthers are a better team. Yeah, I think the Panthers probably have their offense and defense are probably the 2 best units in this football game. The Broncos' defense is still playing with some life, but I've liked what the Panthers have done. It does look like Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore are both going to be out, so that's going to limit a little bit of what Teddy B is able to do. But, yeah, I think the Panthers handle this one pretty easily.
I think this is going to be like the other game they had where they had a number of pieces out. I think Matt Rule has put in an offensive system. It plays to the player's strengths, but even if those players change and aren't quite as good, it can still get you down the field. And I think that's Teddy Bridgewater's a little bit like Baker Mayfield. I think they're both at their best when they're spreading the ball around and everybody's getting 3 to 6 catches. Kansas City is winning, but are struggling to cover lately.
Yeah.
They're 7.5-point favorites at Miami. Man, I've trusted the Chiefs all year, and it was really good early, but it's been bad lately. Can we trust the Chiefs to win this by 8?
I don't trust it, but I'm still going to take them.
I am too, so I guess that says something about us.
Like, who would have known this would be a possible AFC playoff preview, right? But here we are. Like, I want to take the Dolphins so bad. Like, the Dolphins' money line is at plus 275.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to stay away from it Sunday morning. But I just think with the Steelers' loss and the Steelers' schedule, I think the Chiefs are going to be all out gunning for that bye, and I don't know if the Dolphins have enough to fight back. I do hope both Mahomes and Tua play well, because this could be one really fun football game to watch.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens with the Chiefs, because they've really struggled to get the ball in the end zone. They're driving, they're doing the 20-20 drives, but they're struggling in the red zone. Some of that has to deal with some injuries up front on the offensive line. I expect Andy Reid to figure this out eventually. He always does. And this feels like one of those games where everybody's been doubting the Chiefs, and everybody's really high on the Dolphins, and then the Chiefs just lay the smackdown on them.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It feels like that, but not quite enough that I'm willing to bet it.
Yeah, it's definitely a stay away game for me.
I'm going to surprise you here, Jimmy. My fourth lock of the week is Indy as 3-point favorites in Vegas.
Really?
I'm betting on the Colts defense. I'm going to be taking a lot of notes, because if they can't shut down the Raiders and Carr, then I'm going to be completely back out on them. But I think they can win a bunch of regular season games that are left. I think that defense can carry them, but they don't look like they're going to do anything in the playoffs.
No, I mean, this is really a wild card game. This is really a wild card AFC playoff game, really. I mean, truthfully. The Raiders battled the Chiefs, and then they might have turned in the 2 worst performances by a team in the NFL in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, it was bad. Really bad.
But on the flip side, the Colts got boat raced by the Titans and then got bailed out by a bad snapper. They had also been on a 2-game losing streak. And I've decided I dislike the Raiders less than I dislike the Colts. So I'm taking the home dog getting 3.
Very fair. Very fair.
Like, it just feels, Frank Reich, their defense should be able to stop Darren Waller. Henry Ruggs shouldn't be able to take the top off. He should just give the ball to Jonathan Daggum Taylor 30 times, call it a day. I don't know if that's what they'll do, though. Like, I feel like he just keeps wanting to, like, showcase Phillip Rivers a couple series a game, and that's when games turn for him. Like, I mean, they were up like 14 against Houston, and we're trying to throw the football. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. It just is. That's right up there with, Mike Tomlin was throwing to the 3rd-string running back or 2nd-string running back on a wheel route on the game's biggest play to that moment. Like, it's just, you know what, though? It's not the Cleveland Browns this year.
No.
How many times have we looked at why, like, you spent all the money for OBJ? Why are you throwing to your 4th wide receiver in the end zone?
Yep. No, I completely agree.
Yeah, just give it to Taylor, ride him to victory, call it a day, boys.
Yep.
Seattle's going back to New York. This time they're going to play the Jets. They lost to the Giants last week. They are 13.5-point favorites despite everything that's gone on the last few weeks. Jimmy, are you still going to be riding the Jets bandwagon here?
No. The Jets covered last week. They almost hit my money line bet. Thanks a lot, Greg Williams, you douche canoe.
He was fired for that, so it's a little solace.
A little solace, yeah. I don't think that'll be the case this week. I think Pete Carroll will have his team ready to bounce back. If the Seahawks are 2 touchdowns better than the Jets, then I'm going to start making Rams Super Bowl bets.
Yeah, that's actually this would be the week to do your. Well, actually, this isn't the week to do your Rams bets because they just housed the
True.
Patriots. But
True.
if you still like Seattle, this is probably the time to think about
Yeah.
getting them in the Super Bowl odds because they'll be down after the Giants.
Yeah. Probably. They're probably down. They're probably down on division odds right now too. So.
Yeah, and I like the Jets to cover this week. I don't think the Jets win this game, but if they this again, this is one of those games that I feel like on Monday everybody's going to be saying, okay, Seattle won, but man, Russ had to bail them out.
Yeah. See, I just don't. I don't have that vibe with this one. I just can't imagine what it was like to go back to work as a New York Jet this week. Like, there's no player on the team that wants to go 0-16. I don't see another spot on their schedule where they can win a football game. Like, I gave you last week, I gave you all the reasons the Raiders would lose, and they should have. Like, whoever, I don't care that play call was made by Greg Williams. That safety should have been like, when they broke the huddle, the safety should have went to the Mike linebacker and be like, bro, I'm going back to the 5-yard line. This is fucking stupid. Like, I just can't imagine as a team, like, I don't see firing Greg Williams with Adam Gase still there being a rally point. Like, I just feel like this is going to be one of the really bad games for the Jets. I think the Jets are in trouble this week. I think their season is so far under the bus you can't even find it.
Well, Adam Gase did come out and admit what everybody has known for, how long has Gase been there that he's failed Darnold?
Yep.
Just bad stuff, man. My last lock of the week is Green Bay as 7.5-point favorites against the Detroit Lions. The Packers rolled in their first meeting. I think they roll here. Is it over for Detroit, Jimmy?
It's over for Detroit. I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit covered this. I'm going to take the Packers because they look really good on offense. Like, Devontae Adams left that first game early with an injury, and the Packers still rolled. But the Packers are just hoping the Saints slip up somewhere and they can grab that 1 seed. I do think Matt Stafford is playing really well without Kenny Galladay. Like, I think he'll do enough to keep them in this game. I could also see an angle where Aaron Rodgers sees a chance of being the MVP and throws for 6 touchdowns.
I'm leaning more that way.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
All right, a huge stay away for me is our next game, Atlanta and the LA Chargers. It's Falcons are favored by 2.5 here. I'm gonna take them because Anthony Lynn is somehow still coaching this team, so I'm just gonna go with the other way.
Yeah, I am as well. I'm taking the Falcons. This game is going to have multiple horrific mistakes and miscues. I see like a Young Hoku 55-yarder whose time expires to win it. This is a stay away while betting, and I won't watch a crap of this.
Just a note, this line has moved to Atlanta 1.5-point favorites since I checked this. It hasn't been that long. It was only like about 2 hours ago. So a full point of movement in 2 hours. That's a lot.
Yeah, I can't imagine laying my hard-earned money on Anthony Lynn.
Fresh off handing Pittsburgh their first loss of the season, Washington is heading to San Francisco. The Niners are 3-point favorites here. I don't understand this line. I think this is a stay away, but is Vegas expecting a letdown game here for the football team?
I guess, because the first thing I wrote was I have zero idea why this line is what it is.
Yeah, like, I just saw it and went, well, I'll take Washington, but I don't.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah, I'm going to take the Washington money line at plus 145 as well. I feel like what Washington does well on defense will limit what the 49ers do well on offense. I think the 49ers defense is tired, and they'll get worn out by Alex Smith and a running back I'll be talking about later.
The Taysom Hill experiment continues to defy my criticism and expectations. And you know what, Jimmy? Fucking done with this shit. I'm picking the Saints. They should handle Philly in Hurts' debut. I'm laying the 7. They're a lock for me. I'm done betting against the Taysom Hill experiment.
Yeah. Sean Payton is just getting better and better feel for what Taysom does okay-ish. Like, I won't say good or well, but okay-ish enough. Like, their defense is finally rounding out to what a lot of people thought it would be. This is a tough, tough spot for Jalen Hurts. I also have the Saints as a lock. I just don't see. I know it's rough when you're a 7-point dog, but I'm kind of surprised this line isn't more, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and Philadelphia just looks like they're in total disarray. Hurts gave him a little bit of a lift and then very quickly dashed all those hopes. I mean, I guess he has to give them a better chance to win than Carson Wentz right now, though.
Yeah. But does he, though? I mean, that roster is so beat up. Doug Peterson doesn't seem to have a clue as to what he's doing.
Wentz has that Tim Couch look.
Yeah, yes, he does. I mean, you're absolutely correct.
He just has that look that every time the ball comes back to him for a snap, he's starting to survey stuff, and then he starts and he's like, oh, shit, there's people coming at me, and he looks like he can't even begin his progressions, let alone get through his progressions.
Yeah.
So whatever's going on with him, he can't even begin to fix it because he's running for his life all the time.
Yeah, I think he's more of a professional than Sam Darnold, so he would never go in front of a hot mic and say, I'm seeing ghosts out there. But you can just tell everything is so sped up for him right now that it's not going well.
Yeah, that's an excellent analogy, that he's seeing ghosts. That's exactly right. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the Pittsburgh Steelers lost last week. They're going to try and bounce back this week in Buffalo. We have division leader showdowns here, Jimmy. The Bills are favored by 1.5. Do the Steelers bounce back, or do they keep struggling?
All right, I'm going to get heartfelt here for a minute. So I have some family members on my wife's side of the family that live in the New York area. They're part of the Bills Mafia. I have a friend that I went to high school with. She's relocated to the Buffalo area. Her and her husband, she's still a Browns fan, but they're part of the Bills Mafia. Bills Mafia, I need you to give all that table-breaking energy to your players. I'm taking the Bills because I think all the things they do well goes in just absolute perfect harmony with everything the Steelers suck at right now, and I fucking love it.
I have no idea what to make of this game. I'm going to watch it intently. I'm taking the Steelers, kind of hoping I put the bad juju on them. Oh my God! This will be the game I'll watch and root for like it's a Browns game, even though it's not a Browns game. I'll be yelling at the TV. Maybe throw a pillow or two. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen is coming off possibly his best game as a pro, and they're getting to play a wounded team. The thing that helps them, the way you beat Buffalo, is by running because they have a small athletic defense, but the Steelers can't run the ball right now. And,
no, they were totally helpless every time they tried to run the ball against Washington.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give the Browns their win against the Ravens. When the Steelers lose to the Bills, well, the Browns will be one game away from doing something they've never done in our adult lives, bro.
I'm not saying pump the brakes. Oh, my God, that Week 17 game, if it's for the division. Oh, this city's going to be a madhouse, Jimmy. Madhouse.
We've talked about it over and over again. No disrespect to LeBron James. No disrespect to the late 90s Cleveland Indians. Cleveland is a football town. I'm sure if you are around town, I'm sure even in COVID situations, there's a buzz like there hasn't been in a long time. And the energy that's going to be flowing for that Week 17 game, because we're all going to, every person in Cleveland will pick the Steelers to win because we know that's how it goes, even though deep down we know the Browns are going to win.
Oh, I'm here for all of it. I hope it happens. My expectation before the season was that the Browns, who, by the way, have cleared their over-under as well with 9 wins,
Yep.
my expectation was the Browns should be at least playing for a playoff spot in Week 17. They're playing for a playoff spot right now. They win this week, and they're basically in. And,
Yep.
Oh, my God. Just make that Week 17 game be for the division. That'd just be so exciting. What a story.
Yes. Yep.
We just do a whole pod on that. That would be its own pod with guests. I'm just teasing that right now. We'll make that happen.
Oh yeah, we'll go big. We'll definitely get some Browns fans in it. We might even get some Steelers fans to get a little bit of different analysis from it.
I don't know. I guess we can discuss it.
It'll be great. I imagine if it's as important of a game as we think it is, I imagine we'll probably be 6 feet apart in the same room for it.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what happens on Monday night. Get a big win there.
I told you when we started. I'm well ahead of myself.
It's just fun to be able to do it with a football team in Cleveland. God, it's been anybody that's pretty much anybody younger than you, Jimmy, has no recollection of the Browns being anything but awful.
Nope. No, they do not.
It is Week 14, which I know for the two leagues we're in, Jimmy, this is our last week before the playoffs start. I know some leagues may have already started their playoffs if they do an expanded playoffs. Who should people be looking for as their quarterbacks this week?
So, sadly, Baker Mayfield is the fate of the week at QB. Do not put him in any playoff lineup. If I needed QB help this week and they were available in my league, or if either of them were on my bench, I'd be firing up Andy Dalton and Tom Brady this week. I think they have big opportunities. I think they have huge ceiling. I would not be surprised if they were QB1 and QB2. That would not surprise me in the least. And then after that, I think you've just got great matchups for the big names, for Russ, for Herbert, for Mahomes, for Rodgers. I don't personally trust Kyler, Lamar, and Ben this week. I just don't have a feel for any of the three of them. I wouldn't be rolling my playoff lineup or my about to get in the playoff lineup on the three of them. And I still love Deshaun and Josh Allen, even in tough matchups.
Yeah, I like Watson, and we talked about it earlier, but Brady should have a really clean pocket, and when he can just stand in there and survey the field with the weapons they have, he's going to put up numbers.
Yep.
What about in the backfield, Jimmy? What running backs are we looking at?
All right, man. If there was a player in the league that I wish I could have a talk with right now, it would be DeAndre Swift from the Detroit Lions. Like, he has been all banged up, but if he is actually healthy, I think he is a great, great play. There's definitely going to be some risk reward there, especially if you're in the first round of your playoffs or trying to get in. But I don't think I'll be able to stomach watching him score 40 points on my bench. A play that I love, he's available in a ton of leagues. I absolutely love J.D. McKissick from WFT this week. I think he's in a great spot to just absolutely smash. I think it'll be a ton, especially if you're in PPR or half PPR, you're going to get a ton of little screens, a ton of dump-offs, a ton of little swing passes.
Yeah, that's Alex Smith's game right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's going to be absolutely great. If, like my co-host, you've been waiting for a huge Ezekiel Elliott game, I think it's finally here. And then you get the must starts: Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, James Robinson. I believe David Montgomery again this week is a high upside RB1.
You've been right on David Montgomery a lot this year. He hasn't had many big weeks, but you've had him as a starter the weeks he's actually done something.
Yep, and then I love Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, and Chris Carson. I know people don't want to hear this. My fate of the week at running back is Dalvin Cook. Most likely, if you have Dalvin Cook on your team, you are in the playoffs or you're getting ready to start the playoffs. If I could roll out Jonathan Taylor or Myles Gaskin over Dalvin Cook this week, I probably would.
That would be such a tough call.
I know it would be hard to do, but I don't see a ceiling. I just don't see a high ceiling for him this week, and I think the floor could be really, really low. The running back dart throw play that I love this week is Wayne Gallman for the Giants. He's quietly been really good filling for Saquon, and this is a really good matchup for him.
Excellent. What about wide receiver, tight ends? Anybody poised for a really big week here?
Yeah, I mean, since it looks like DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel are going to be out, I love Robbie Anderson from the Panthers. And the cool thing about this week, like all the wide receivers you drafted early in the draft all have great matchups this week. I believe Julio is out, so that could elevate Calvin Ridley to be wide receiver like 2, because I think Devontae Adams is just going to be the best wide receiver in the league this week.
Yeah, Rodgers really likes to feed him, especially when they're rolling.
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers are going to be in the red zone a lot, and Tom Brady has really loved throwing to Mike Evans in the red zone. So I love Mike Evans this week, and I'm also, because I'm playing Andy Dalton, I'm willing to roll up with any of the Cowboys wide receivers on your roster at flex. And then at tight end, I'm playing all the big names except Darren Waller. I feel like he's a fade, but the rest of the big names, feel safe playing them. And then if you're hoping for some points out of your defense, Cowboys, Seattle, Saints, WFT is where I'd be focusing for season-long streaming and for DFS.
All right. Any final thoughts on Week 14 before we close here, Jimmy?
No, I'm just really excited. Like, we have a lot of playoff previews, a lot of games that are either going to be get-right games for teams or going to bring a lot of questions for teams. Like, this is just an exciting week of football. We only have a couple real snoozers, and I'm excited. I mean, let's face it, I'm excited for Monday night. That's just where it is.
Yeah, and it's going to be easy to watch a lot of football on Sunday and really get a look at these teams, and we're going to find out just how trustworthy they are before we get into the playoffs.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, well, that is No Broken Legs for Week 14. Jimmy, as always, thank you for joining me.
Oh, there's no place else I'd rather be, man. Y'all keep them legs out of cast out there.
And thank you for listening. We will be here next week with Week 15 picks, and Jimmy will help you make sure that you advance in your fantasy playoffs. For Jimmy Champ, I'm Evan Belfiore. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, we are No Broken Legs.